Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to the first day of this Thankskilling marathon of reviews that was done by Brother Peanut Butter, who's a subscriber of mine. And basically it's a 10-day event where you review a horror film for 10 days in November for Thanksgiving, called the Thankskilling Marathon. So like it's like one different kind of film per day. So day one would be a slasher film. So I figured, you know what, let me review one of my personal favorite ones that I feel is very underrated and doesn't get talked about a whole lot. And that is a film called Alone in the Dark. Now, not to be confused with the movable Alone in the Dark. This Alone in the Dark was released in 1982, directed by Jack Shoulder before he did Nightmare on Elm Street 2. He also did Renegades with Lou Diamond Phillips and Kiefer Sutherland. And he's done a couple of other films as well. And Alone in the Dark, basically, you have very solid cast. Basically the idea of the story is that you have Donald Pleasance's character who runs this mental facility, and one thing leads to another. There's this new guy that comes in, played by Dwight Schultz, who is from the A-Team TV show. And of course, Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis himself from Halloween. And basically, the Dwight Schultz character is brought in to overlook these mental patients in this mental asylum. One thing leads to another, and there's a blackout that happens, and then these 4 mental patients escape from the mental institution, and they go on a rampage and start attacking people in this small town during this blackout, and things go out of control, and they go after people, and things like that. And that's pretty much what the entire gist of Alone in the Dark is about. Now, Alone in the Dark is really one of those films that I feel is it's a very underrated slasher film. It's directed very well by Jack Shoulder. And on top of that, too, the 4 main there's 4 mental patients, but the main 3 you'll probably recognize the most. You have Martin Landau as one of the mental patients. I mean, Martin Landau is a phenomenal actor. And what's sad, too, is before I get onto those, a majority of the people in this film are no longer with us anymore. Donald Pleasance is no longer with us. And on top of that, too, Martin Landau plays one of the mental patients, from Ed Wood, among others. He's greatly missed. You have Jack Palance as one of the mental patients as well. I mean, Jack Palance, he's no longer with us anymore either. I mean, you look him up, Tango and Cash, Tim Burton's Batman, Young Guns. I mean, he was the bad guy in Young Guns, and City Slickers, and just so many other films. I mean, Jack Palance is a legend. And the 3rd main mental patient you'll probably recognize is this actor Erland Van Lith, Dynamo from The Running Man. If you're a big fan of The Running Man, you know who Dynamo is. And he's one of the mental patients as well. And this film, and I really like the 4th mental patient. He's kind of like the silent guy. He's got a mask on. He's called the bleeder, because he always bleeds and things like that. But I just think that this film just has a lot going for it. I mean, it's a very wonderful cast. It's a very underrated slasher film. I mean, having a cast like Donald Pleasance and Martin Landau, Jack Palance, Dwight Schultz. I mean, it's a really wonderful cast, and it has a really creepy premise. A blackout happens, and these mental patients escape from the asylum, and they're terrorizing this small town. I mean, and Jack Palance and Martin Landau, they do phenomenal jobs as some of the mental patients. I mean, they're just great. I mean, Donald Pleasance, he's always good. I mean, greatly missed Donald Pleasance. Dwight Schultz, is really good to see him in this movie as well. It's got some really nice, good gore moments. So it's got some nice gore moments because it is a slasher. Because there are some killings in this film. And it's directed very well by Jack Shoulder. And overall, I'm not going to say much more about Alone in the Dark. That I don't want to say much more about it because I don't want to spoil everything that happens in this film. But if you're looking for a really underrated 80s slasher film and you really want a very solid cast, a really creepy premise, I think this is one that you definitely have to check out. I really do love this film a lot, and that's why it's one of my personal favorite slashers. So, that's pretty much it for my review for Alone in the Dark, and thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright guys, take care.